gorgeous out. Let's pop some ducks.
This is the Upduck Podcast, a blend of upland and waterfowl hunting. Tune in as your hosts, Tyler Beaton, Jeff Ludicky, Matt Jeske, chat about training dogs and share their bird hunting stories, tactics, and strategies.
I haven't podcasted in a while.
Feels weird.
No, it does feel weird. I feel like I'm off my game.
I'm feeling rusty.
Yeah.
I'm feeling really rusty.
This could be well, we'll see.
Well, go ahead, Jeff. What were you gonna say?
It'll be fun, but we're all rusty, so we'll see. We'll see what happens here.
I'm not. This is a fun episode. Are you kidding me? This is like the greatest episode ever. This is the Oklahoma bird. What? Okay, the Oklahoma Beatdown. We're just gonna call it that.
There you go.
Oklahoma
Got your
Beatdown?
title right away.
That's
all
it.
right.
Write that down.
Yeah.
We had an Iowa beatdown this year. We have an Oklahoma beatdown.
Dude, the Iowa beatdown was what we got beaten down. That was awful.
No, I'm talking about me and Matt.
Yeah. You guys did have you had a good trip in Iowa. Yeah.
We had a little bit more of a positive experience.
Yes, true. We had a positive experience in Oklahoma too.
That's true.
It's true.
I mean, it was my first guided hunt. And it
me
was
too.
It was pretty spectacular for me.
Yeah.
Like pretty spectacular.
I agree. I think I had told Zach when he asked for some feedback from us that I had never been on a guided hunt before, and I was a little like skeptical about going on guided hunts because I kind of enjoy the having to put in the work and the pain that goes into hunting. It just makes it like that much more rewarding. So I was kind of afraid that, that whole piece of it would be taken away and it just wouldn't be the same experience. And I was proven wrong because I had a blast.
And our first hunt, when that giant group of honkers came in and we sat up and just dropped like 8 to 10 of them in one fell swoop, it was like, okay, yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And
anyway,
it was completely authentic. Like we got to put in some work. Yes. I mean, we'll get into the details, but
yes,
it was a good time.
So we went down to Oklahoma. We did a trip with Red Beards Waterfowl Outfitters. We had Zach Weaver, who's the owner, on early in 2024. I've known Zach for a few years. I did a podcast with him, a different podcast that I used to host probably 4 years ago. And he's asked me every year to come down. And he came on our podcast. And you guys took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. And you guys were like, we're going to go down. And I was like, okay, I suppose I'll go too. And
we signed up even before you said you were going.
I know you guys did. You guys were all
we had 4 people going.
Yeah.
Questionable 5th being Tyler.
Yeah, you were the questionable one.
That's true. Hey, I put
for a while. I told
down.
Matt, I was like, he's not going to make it. I told Matt right out the jump. I was like, there's no way he's coming.
I didn't want to take 2 trips in January because I am going.
Boy, would you have regretted it?
Yeah, because I'm going to SHOT Show next week, so I am doing that, and that's hard. Like January is a really hard month. Just work wise to be able to do that. But I'm so glad that I went.
Mm-hmm.
So glad.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The trip down was an adventure. You guys didn't get nearly the weather me and my dad had, but we threaded the needle on the way down basically because all of the mid-central United States all the way to the East Coast got somewhere between 3 and 12 inches of snow. So right off the bat, we got pretty lucky driving down there on Saturday. We caught some ice, freezing rain in north and central Kansas. There was quite a few semis in the ditch, which made for an exciting 3-hour period there. But not the worst I've driven to or from a guided hunt. So that was okay.
Ooh, it wasn't great for
you.
I mean,
no.
I think I'm guessing you were white knuckling the steering wheel.
I was. Took over in Kansas City after my Rogers stop. It was good for about a half an hour after I left there, and then it started misting, and you could see the shoulders were completely glared over. So it was exciting, kind of all the way to Wichita, which is a bit of a stretch, like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
See, we didn't have any inclement weather, but we did make an adventure out of our trip down as well.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
We stopped at a nice little establishment called Uranus, and that was quite the experience. I don't know if Tyler was like super pumped about going, but me and Nate we were all in to stop at Uranus.
Yes, yeah. Well, we got time out here. So we did have 5 people going. So it was Matt's dad, Jeff, myself, and then Jeff's brother-in-law. We're going to call him Instagramless Nate, because he does not have Instagram. He doesn't have any social media, does he?
He's got a Facebook account. I don't think he
Does
ever
he?
uses it though.
Okay,
so
right.
The way it works in his household is his wife shows him all of the things on Instagram. Or if he wants to see something, he requests it and she opens it up on her profile and shows it to him. So he had been following Red Beards and looking at all the stories prior to the hunt, but through her phone.
Very interesting setup. He was very excited to visit Uranus.
Yeah, and he's a big Route 66 guy. He loves that stuff ever since he was a kid. So I think that played a big factor in it too, that we were actually on like the original parts of Route 66, and he was eating it up.
Yeah, he's a motorcycle guy, so that it feels like that lines up though, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
so yeah,
and that place was very interesting. As soon as you walk in the door, all the workers yell "Welcome to Uranus" repeatedly. There are lots of funny T-shirts and souvenirs and signs that say "We'll pack your fudge" on them, and it was all the things, and I was there for it. It was pretty entertaining.
You and Nate were eating up that fudge. All right, that's all I'm going to say. I was having a hard time on the way down. Like, it was a 13-hour drive for us with no stops, and that's just a long time to be in a car for me. I was anxious to get there. I was very excited.
You had it made in the back seat though. You had your computer up, you're lounging back there with the dog. Didn't have to worry about driving.
And the ice eater back there too.
Yeah. That might have made it longer though. The fact that you didn't drive, sometimes that can make the trip longer because you're just stuck in that back seat the whole time. Whereas me and Nate switched.
Yes.
So,
yeah. Uranus was, I mean, looking back at it, it's hilarious. The place is, if you're looking for a stop on the way down, definitely worth a quick stop in, right?
Quick stop in, have them pack your fudge. You'll be in and out of there.
Jeez.
Wouldn't be happier.
It was like the halfway point for us too.
It was. It's like almost exactly halfway.
Yeah.
It's a perfect pit stop to switch drivers.
I know it was. We stopped at Uranus, we grabbed some Culvers, and then we just hit it.
Yep.
Which is when we were boogieing.
And you guys followed directions really well until pretty close to the end.
Oh yeah. Tyler was so pissed. Literally the second we passed the exit, he got on the phone and texted Matt, "We just missed it. We're like 15 minutes away still."
Which is probably where he learned then that I wouldn't have cell phone coverage until I was standing outside of the house or lodge for the next 3.5 days.
So do we want to explain why we missed the turn?
Sure, please.
Yeah.
Do tell, Jeff. Please do tell.
So I think we were going through St. Louis, right?
Yes.
We were going through St. Louis, and I was getting a little bored with the music, so I decided to put on some Kid Rock. Big fan, Kid Rock. Back in the day, the old school Kid Rock, like Ball with the Ball, Cowgirls, like those are the good songs right there.
The ones Kid Rock with attitude, right?
Yeah. So I think we were jamming out to some Kid Rock, and the GPS in St. Louis kept interrupting the jam session. So I proceeded to mute the GPS, and lo and behold, after about a 13-hour trip, you need that voice-activated GPS to make sure that you get off on the right exit in the middle of Oklahoma.
Yes,
we can thank Kid Rock for our little mishap there in the directions.
Yeah. We were also having a spirited discussion about taking shots over like 100 yards at deer with
I think it was 200 yards.
Was it 200 yards? Maybe it was over 150. at taking shots, longer distance shots at deer with crappy scopes.
Scopes. Yeah.
Yes. Like the 3x9 Tasco I have on my old 30-06.
Right. Exactly.
Yes. It was getting very spirited, and then it goes, oh shit, I think we were supposed to get off there. And it was like, and apparently in Oklahoma, there's no place to do like a U-turn, right? Because they don't need a snowplow to be able to like turn around there in Oklahoma. So we literally had to drive like 10 miles up to the next exit.
Oh yeah.
And
It was
turn
at least
back
10
around.
miles.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and then it's an easy 10 minutes once you make that exit down the main road and then the two side roads to the lake house place.
Oh
So,
yeah. Except
that was easily 25 minutes.
Except the GPS said, "Oh, don't get back on. Take this side road." So we never got back on the interstate. We got on some side road, and it was dicey.
It's dark out. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
yeah,
dark.
It was like a speed limit 70, but we were not comfortable going over 60 miles per hour. It was wild. Yeah. We made it though. We did make it.
See?
But
all good.
After being in the car for 12 hours and 45 minutes and the thought of being out of it in 15 minutes and then an extra 30 minutes in the car for missing that, it was like, oh, painful.
That's a bummer.
Poke me in the eye with a sharp stick. So,
but we got to our place.
We did, yeah.
Had a beer. Went out
Zach,
for dinner.
had dinner.
Yeah, met Zach, met the guides. That was one of the things that I gave him feedback on. I did like that he kind of gathered up the guides and came over and introduced themselves. So I thought that was a nice touch, kind of made things a little bit more comfortable on that first day for us.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I had catfish that night and it was incredible. It was like when in Oklahoma, get the catfish.
I've got my cup right there.
You
Souvenir.
do?
Yeah.
Put it on the
Souvenir
camera.
cup.
Let's see it. Let's see it.
The shed.
Oh man. Oh yeah, that's
The
right.
shed.
Weatherford, Oklahoma.
You guys are thieves. Hopefully they're not listening to this. You and Nate rolling out of there with their cups.
Souvenir cup.
It is a souvenir cup. So yeah, and then we just basically got ready for bed. It was like, okay, let's go.
Yep.
Let's go.
And then it was a series of unfortunate morning events that kind of kept one after the other there for.
It was wild.
Hours about.
It started off rough.
Yeah, I woke up. You guys were already out there, and I was already had my Under Armour shirt on, pair of shorts, getting ready to get changed. And then Jeff says, "Yeah, Zach texted me at like 4 this morning. Says call when you get this." And I was like, "That's not a good sign. That's usually not a solid start."
It was not.
And the reason was that they had 30-mile-an-hour sustained winds, gusting up to 50.
Yeah, I screenshotted it at 6:52, so it wasn't peaking yet. It was roughly on the windy app. It was 26 sustained there with 45 gusts, and it was mostly gusting that day. So Zach had said that he tried setting up his decoys. They were blowing off the stakes. He had layout blinds blowing across the field, and that just wasn't gonna make for an enjoyable morning for anybody. So he called off the morning, and we sat around, sulked for a little while because we didn't have TV or internet, and then decided to go get breakfast. Attempt to get breakfast. So
attempt was the key word. Yeah.
Yes. I was really bummed about that too.
Yeah. Went to another local establishment recommended by Zach.
Highly recommended.
Yeah. I mean, there was a bunch of people in there. It's just
tons.
Oh, I'm sure it was fantastic.
They had one phase of their electrical out, so they basically couldn't make anything except for it's like meatloaf,
cornbread.
They had their pre-made cinnamon rolls,
mashed potatoes,
I think were like your 5 options that morning, and coffee.
And this was like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Right.
Nothing like some mashed potatoes.
Yeah. Yep. So no breakfast food there.
I was really bummed. I walked in, I was like, this is my place. I feel like I'm stepping back.
Diner,
Yeah. Oh man. It's like it's like a place you'd see on diners, drive-ins, and dives with Guy Fieri if you watch that on the Food Network. So
yeah.
So I was bummed. But yeah. So then we audibled.
Yeah. But while sitting there,
yes,
we got a phone call and asked if we'd all want to go out and in the afternoon. And I think before Jeff said anything, everybody was yelling, yes, of course we want to go out this afternoon.
And everybody in the diner was looking at us.
Yeah, decided to pull chalks and go to the second highest rating that we could find open in Weatherford at 9:30 in the morning for breakfast.
And that was we walk in and it's literally just a bunch of tables set out in the middle of a gas station. There was no separate room. It was in the middle of the gas station amongst the refrigerator section and all the candy. And
yep.
It was,
I was thinking it was like the one
funny.
Street for me where it's like a separate room, maybe walk through part of it. But this was like what was behind me. If you wanted RC Cola, you're going to have to scooch past my chair, grab it and, to get it.
But it was freaking good.
Yeah.
It was super
like
good. It was
$9,
real
I think,
basic,
for a
but it
meal.
was super good. Yeah.
You would have paid more if you went to McDonald's and got a breakfast meal.
Yeah, no, legitimately, it would have been the same or more. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. And it would have definitely not been as good, and it would have definitely probably had me run to the bathroom later. So yeah, that was a win.
Yep.
Things were just looking up at that point.
Yeah, we were
That's right.
starting to peak there.
Yes.
So I don't know. What did he tell us to get there? Probably gave us a pin and probably 2:30.
No, back up.
Oh, what I missed.
So remember, he said he was going to send us a pin, right? And let us know the time.
Yeah. I forgot how much I called it.
Yeah, we got back to the lodge, which I did not have any service at 10:45, and so we're sitting there waiting, and I'm got to kind of take a nap or whatever. It gets to be like noon, and I literally just lay down in bed.
Yep.
Dog jumped on the bed, nice and warm. Just I'm just snoozing away. And then what happened while I was sleeping?
At some point, I think Jeff and I were watching one of the 5 movies that was there with the DVD player.
Oh, we were watching Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, and I jokingly said, it was probably 5 to 1 or a little after 1. I said, wouldn't it be really funny if, and Nate had just said, I bet you Tyler's sleeping because we haven't seen him in a while. He was going to do something for OKS and he never came back out. I said, what if he fell asleep and Zach's been sending him text messages or a pin? Jeff's like, maybe I should text him. And I said, wouldn't it be something else if it was like 1 o'clock and, he said, be here at 2 and it's a 35 or 40 minute drive. It turns out it's exactly what happened is at 1 o'clock, we found out we should be at the pin at 2. And luckily for us, it was like a 30 to 35 minute drive. So we had all of 20 to 25 minutes to wake Tyler up and get everybody else and Mac and loaded in the truck and driving to the first pin. So it was a bit hectic for about 20 minutes before we jumped in the truck. Yeah.
Yeah, it was exciting.
We were ready to go for like 8 hours. So
yeah. I mean, I have to say, that was like the most gentle wake up for, hey, we need to be out of the house and out of the lodge in 15 minutes and on the road because we're about to go kill some birds.
It was like a nice little tap on the door.
Yeah,
just kind of
we're gonna leave in 15 minutes. I would have been like, dude, we're leaving like in 15 minutes. Hurry up, go. I mean, I was like, I jumped up. It was an exciting chaos. It was really fun to be a part of, like the mad dash. Everybody was like running out with their stuff and throwing on layers.
The drive there, we started seeing geese like in the air. Not a lot right away, but enough where you're like, oh, there's geese in this region. But what did you guys think? Because I don't think you've ever seen anything like this. But before the field we were at, it's probably like a 2 or 3 mile stretch of road. And like every field had a feed of some sort. Like you could see snows, specks, cackler, like lessers, geese as far as you could see on both sides. And I don't think either of you have ever seen anything like that. What did you think pulling up to that or driving through that? And then when we got to the trailer, you could see the feed behind our field.
Wow. Jeff, do you want to go first or would you like me to sum it up in 2 words?
I'd seen that somewhat. I did a snow goose hunt in Colorado a long time ago. So I'd kind of experienced that a little bit. I know Tyler's in the back seat freaking out. I think Tyler, the first thing that he went through his mind was, oh shit, we're late and we're going to miss this huge flight of birds.
Yes.
And they're all going to be out of here by the time we get into our blinds. I think that was the fear that was going through your mind.
Oh, it was a real fear because we went first we got a pin and something went wrong tech wise, and we went to the wrong spot. So then we were 15 minutes later than we were supposed to be, and we're like 2 miles away from the pin, and you can see birds like just flying like
thousands
everywhere, thousands of birds. And in my mind, you asked, what was I thinking, Matt? And the 2 words were, holy shit. Like, because I had never seen anything like that. It was insane. And then we're coming up, we're like, is that where we're going to be? Because there are just thousands of birds in this field. And we're like, oh, wait, that's 0.8 miles away. We still have another mile to go up here. And I was like, woo, okay, all right. Okay, we're going to be okay. We did pull up, though. We pulled in, and we had our spread, and then on the other side of the fence on the other property was
there was a feed with thousands upon thousands of geese in that field. Which I was a little bit nervous about, because I would have told you, and I told Zach the next day, like, I've been on snow goose hunts before, and if you have, granted, we'll get to it, we didn't shoot snow geese. I mean, we got them close, but we've shot at one snow goose, I think, which is exactly what happened. Those live birds pull in a lot of live birds. So I was very nervous that, like, the lessers weren't going to do what they wanted to, and they're all just going to go like a couple 100 yards behind us. But that's not how that works there. It was very different than I expected. I just expected everything to get sucked over to the field, but they knew what they were doing.
They did.
Yeah.
So we pull into this field, right? And I guess, what was the setup? So the setup was, it was a winter wheat field, right?
Yep.
And we were in the socks. Like, we were hiding in the socks, no layout blinds.
Just on the little backboard, or it's kind of like a pad with a slight increase for your back. Not quite a backboard, but
with a bunch of socks around us. And then outside of the socks was a bunch of full bodies, silhouettes, shells, all different kinds of stuff.
Okay, I have to ask, have you guys done a sock hunt before like that?
Yeah.
Okay. I have not, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been in layouts with decoys all around me, but nothing where I'm exposed with a bunch of socks around me.
Yeah, I've done this here locally for Canada geese, just the way the spread worked, and then I've done it snow goose hunting as well, but not in like whites. So usually you're in like a Tyvek suit and the whole thing blending in. This was very casual. Like, you just wore your camo and made sure that the silhouettes were, your face was down. So
yeah. And I mean, we were in a field that was green winter wheat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, there wasn't snow on the ground. Like, it was interesting, but shit, did it work?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it didn't work.
I mean, trucks were parked and you got Max situated. I think we had to load up probably before everybody was done walking the trucks back, because the geese wanted in like right now.
Yes.
Like right now. I mean, I'm trying to think if I had 242 is the first picture I had of laying in the socks, and I would bet we'd probably already had geese by that time. Like, it was instant. We got there. Yeah.
Yeah, when we first sat down, I remember I was right next to Nate, and Nate had never shot a goose before. Shot ducks, never shot a goose. This was like, he just wanted to shoot a goose, regardless of what kind it was.
Yeah.
So I remember we sat down. He's right to my left, and I looked at him. I was like, I think you're going to get your chance to shoot a goose today. And it was within like 5 minutes, a lesser came right behind us, and he swung and just smoked that thing. And I remember just giving him knucks, like, there we go, buddy, on the board. And it was just game on after that.
That was the first bird, and then it was flock after flock. I mean, the first flock, I think we went like 6 for 6, and then a second flock came in minutes later, and I think we rained out like 8 or 10. Like, it was really, really hot, really fast.
And we were, awesome. I felt like all of us were shooting, like we were all dead on.
Yeah. And I mean,
first few flocks.
For reference, like, you could shoot 3 times, but your first 1 or 2 shots, there was volleys I only shot 1 time, because I would pull up and shoot a bird, and then I'd swing to one, and it was either dead or the 40-mile-an-hour, 50-mile-an-hour gusts, like, they were gone, like, instantly. Yes. But Zach and Maxwell, they were making the call, getting them in real close, like landing at 20 yards, probably close. So that was awesome.
I remember, I think it was one of the big flocks. I remember it came in, and like you said, I pulled up, went to my first goose. As soon as I got onto it, somebody killed it. Went to the next goose. As soon as I got onto it, somebody killed it. I think I said, "What the hell?" before I finally got to the third goose and got a shot off. We were on it.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And I think, so looking back on that too, it was so cool because we're laying in these socks and it's flat and you can see these geese coming from 1,000 yards away. Like you
And
get
some
to
of those
watch.
flocks were 5 feet off the wheat field.
Yeah.
For hundreds of yards. It was awesome.
It was so cool to watch that. And you were talking about Matt earlier with like the big feed behind us, and we had like a little satellite feed. Watching back some of the GoPro footage, you can see like the big flocks coming, and you see birds from these big flocks like break off and drop into our spread, and you see the other ones like keep going. It worked.
Yep.
I was sitting next to Bill Desmos. I was sitting between him, like Bill Desmos photos on Instagram. You should totally follow him because he's awesome. And between Zach, and after we had smoked like this, like the second big flock came in, they turned to each other, started laughing, and said, "Just so crazy, it might work." That was like the theme of the day, and it works. Yeah,
it
awesome.
I mean, we ended up with 4 ducks as well. I mean, I think if it wasn't for the situation behind us, we probably would have shot more ducks. I think Zach kind of let that go, and rightfully so. But that's a longer story for a different time. They can work that out. But I mean, it was cool to see. I mean, it's rare you see flocks of 50 plus pintails or mallards, widgeon all together, flock after flock after flock for like 3 hours going into a field, or even thinking about working you. It was really cool to see.
Yes. And I think that was unexpected, right? They had said that they hadn't seen ducks in those numbers
not more than after shooting light. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So what did we end up on the first day? We ended up with 42 birds.
Yep. 36 dark geese, 2 specks, and four ducks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one of us checked the spec off their list.
I did. That wasn't on my list. I was hoping to get that cackling goose, and that was pretty easy. But the spec, I was seeing them in that field on that like 2 mile stretch before, and I was like, oh man, would that be pretty sweet if we had any of them come in with a flock of dark geese? And they did. And it was one of those that like, I don't know, I looked at the GoPro. I think there was only one other shot on that flock. Yeah. I dropped that speck out of the sky, and it was my dad or Nate or Jeff that shot one shot because they didn't really quite work on that one. And yeah, I got that really nice, really mature speckled belly. So yeah, 2 more off my list. It's awesome.
That was a gorgeous bird. That was a gorgeous spec.
Huge. Yep.
Huge. And yeah, looking at the GoPro footage, that was forever and a day. That shot was, and with the wind too, because I mean, right, if the birds didn't get close, if they didn't really commit, and we sat up to shoot, they just like floated their wings out and just took off. They were gone. Like you weren't getting more than one shot.
Yeah. So that was cool. That was very cool.
Yeah. 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 It was an awesome hunt. That was a banger.
It was. And then, what time? I think shooting light ended at like 5:30-ish, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And they didn't expect it, but I like picking up decoys. It doesn't bother me, and the guys get to get back an hour earlier or whatever. They already run on no sleep, so just to help out a little bit, we help pack up, get some pictures, and then we got back late. After the drive back and stuff. I don't think we were cleaning birds till 8 p.m., 7:30 or 8, I think we started.
Yes.
Yeah. Didn't eat steak till 9:30, probably. It was a late night. Night. It was a long day.
It was a very long day. Started early with disappointment, ended late. Yeah. Who doesn't love eating steak, finishing your steak dinner at 9:30 at night?
Yep.
And that was I made quite the meal too. Like that was a lot of food to eat that late at night.
Yeah, it was a
What do we have? We had
full-blown meal.
steak, caramelized onions, cauliflower, broccoli, potato bar. Like I was going for it while you guys were out there cleaning birds.
Yeah, it was definitely quite the operation we had set up and successfully done. You know,
yeah,
couldn't have done it with less than 5 people. I don't think.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah,
and we got back and it was like, holy crap, we're really tired. There's a pile of birds. What are like?
Yeah, we just
3-man operation. Take care of those and prep the duck and spec for the next meal. So luckily got that done and made for a shorter meal on Monday night, which was good because we didn't get back exactly, early either.
No. So
so day 2 morning was a little slow again. We had a little bit of a different situation, right? So we were over a little frozen pond in the middle. It was kind of like in a ditch surrounded by a cornfield that had just been picked a few weeks prior. In layouts, I don't know how many decoys Zach had out there, maybe 3-4 dozen decoys, ducks and geese. But I think
the day before there was green wings, mallards, all feeding around that pond and working up towards the corn. So they had an idea that they'd be there, but just.
And Zach was excited about that one. He had told me on the way back that he actually called dibs on that field for us that morning. So he had high expectations, but
we probably
we all know, the ducks they do what they want to do, and it just didn't pan out that morning.
Yeah, I mean, we only saw probably 4 flocks of ducks, like way out in the distance, and maybe one came over us. So it kind of had him puzzled of why they were looking for water and or food when, there was food right here and they were there yesterday. So it was either new batch there was a lot of funky weather going on to the north, and a 50-mile-an-hour north wind the day before gets birds pretty confused. So
that first night of like a hard freeze, like that just has them all screwed up.
Yep. So I think we pulled out at like 9:30, and he said he was going to put a game plan together for the afternoon, which ended up being right back in that cornfield, because they had made a guess that birds would be showing back up to feed in that corn, because there was no other food for, I think he said, like 5 miles around there, basically. So
and I think that was the cool thing that like really stood out to me too with Zach and his crew, is that I think I was telling you guys, like, they don't need to be doing that, right? So we paid for 3 morning hunts. Normally an afternoon hunt is an add-on, but Zach made sure that because we had a bum hunt, he was going to try to get us on birds that afternoon. We didn't have to pay any extra for it. And I think that really stood out to me, that they really cared. And it wasn't just sorry guys, shit happens. On to the next day. So they made sure that we got out and got another opportunity.
Yeah. And it wasn't just us though either. I mean, there was a group from Alabama, Mississippi. Where were they from? I thought
Alabama.
They were from Mississippi. Yeah. But you guys said Alabama. Right. They had a slow hunt too. And I think we weren't getting special treatment. I think that the thing was like, that's the way.
We just joined up. They joined our 2 groups up that afternoon. So similar story. I think we were out there at 2:30 maybe. Set up A-frames in the middle of that cornfield, set up for geese and ducks. And I mean, it was cool to watch birds of that caliber flock over a cornfield.
Yes, there were some mega flocks. That was so close to being a great hunt.
Yep.
So close.
Those birds just did not want to commit just that little bit extra, and we would have been making it rain. But I know there was that one big flock that came in. Tyler, you said there was like 25 mallards that had landed in the decoys to our left.
Yeah, it was off my left. Yeah, they were.
Ryan and Maxwell were like trying to wait for them
the
to
other
kind of slide
150
over.
to come in.
Right. And he was trying to get them like centered up a little bit so everyone could get shooting, because we had like 11 guns that day because we met up with another crew.
Yeah.
So I mean, realistically, it was probably just me and Tyler and maybe Nate getting shots at those 25 birds that were way off to the left. So I think they were just trying to, they admitted that they got a little greedy, but they were trying to get everything centered up so everyone could get an opportunity. It just didn't pan out the way everybody wanted.
Yeah.
Those birds worked us for like 15 to 20 minutes though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was a sight to see.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a total
it was
bust.
cool.
I think we ended up with 8 or 9 mallards
Yeah, I think it
and
was 8.
out of that field.
I think it was 6 mallards and 2
Yeah.
widgeon, I think.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
it wasn't our
it was a
best
show.
shooting either.
No, it was definitely not. Admittedly,
Everybody.
for
I don't
sure
know
not.
if it was just because it was a big group, but even the other group and us, all of us shot very poorly, I think.
Yeah.
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool to watch.
And
I mean, we watched it after we were picking up and birds were still trying to land over in that cornfield. You watched them after 5:30. It was getting dark, and I was watching Mac laying down, still watching birds circle, over towards the truck, and his eyes are just watching the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see, because you're like, are they still up there? And you just watch Mac, and he was just watching the whole time.
And Maxwell was just sitting there, just wailing on that call right into the last minute. We had those mallards working. He's sitting there blowing the duck call, and every 20 seconds he would yell out, "Time!" And somebody would have to tell him the time. Time! Where, time!
Yeah.
And we right up to the last second
Yeah.
of shooting light, and then he called it.
Yeah.
It was close. We almost had another opportunity.
Yep. Very close.
Yeah. That was so close. For whatever reason, though, too, because we had another big flock work us real hard. And there were a few birds that kind of came down, not as many, but they were off to the left again. They weren't centered up for the group again. So for whatever reason, they just didn't they didn't quite finish for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. That hunt was really fun too, because it was really interesting watching how Ryan and Maxwell communicated with one another and how they were strategizing when those birds were so weary. They were pulse her off, pulse them, all different kinds of things. Or he was trying the flag, different types
sunglasses.
of calls,
We took sunglasses.
turning the spinners. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to listen to those two guys interact with each other.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yes, it was. And then we got to day 3, which was after we went back. Well, wait. We had to go back. We ate our speck and our duck, right?
Yep.
Bacon wrapped.
Yeah.
We
Marinated
ate well.
in brandy.
Oh,
Yep. Brandy and teriyaki.
Yep.
Tasted that brandy.
Yep.
We ate well. Let's just stop and pause for a moment.
Yeah.
We ate really well, right?
Yeah.
We ate bacon wrapped duck and speck. We ate steak. I mean, we just yeah, we had a good time. That was great.
Yeah.
But that was our last night though. So we were packing and getting things ready, and
because when we left, you were not coming back to the house.
Correct.
So had to be ready.
Correct. So we got everything packed up and slept, and I don't know if it was actually real or not. I was either dreaming or I was hearing geese going over the house at 11 o'clock at night. Snows, by the way. It definitely snows.
I think you're the only one that heard that, so it must have been a dream.
I know it was pretty wild. But our last time was pretty good though.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it was awesome. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so we set up in some panel blinds over
it's a pretty
big
lake. A lake, yeah.
A lake? Yeah, I don't know how many acres it was. I think they said it was maybe 50 acres.
Yeah.
Did they call it a reservoir or a lake?
I think Onyx called it a reservoir.
I think that's what my map said as well.
Right. But it was I think he said it was 50 acres.
Yeah, it's hard to judge because the property we were on is 500, and that lake was a good chunk of the surrounding properties. I mean, it might have been north of 100. It's a good, definitely not a pond. It's just call it that.
And it was we had to drop quite a bit of elevation to get down to where the lake was too, from where we parked the trucks. So that was interesting. We parked up top and took the Ranger down
in the dark, took a super sketchy bridge across a creek, and then got to our parking location. Then took the UTV down and a couple loads of people. But kind of on that red clay around the lake was pretty cool. Very Oklahoma.
Yeah, we had a really pretty sunrise. Zach had the ice eater going out there to make sure our little spot didn't freeze over at night. So
yeah, it definitely froze up in the middle and up towards the north end of the pond. I mean, there was floating ice out there. So,
and once we got settled in, 10 minutes prior to shooting light, there was birds working us. Birds landing in the decoys, coming in and out. We knew there was birds there, and we were going to have a decent hunt.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Yes.
and then Matt got us started with the trophy bufflehead.
That's right. I mean, I'm not going to not shoot the first duck that comes into the spread at legal light because you never know what's going to happen. You
Just
know,
the
you see
water
those birds,
swat on a trophy hen bufflehead.
you see those birds dumping into the north, you know, live birds pulling real birds. You can't be too sure. You gotta get rid of that skunk right off the bat. So you're welcome, everybody.
So Bill posted a photo of me holding up this little tiny hen bufflehead at the end of
It
the
was
hunt.
really small. Yeah.
Really small, like
Yeah.
real half the size of a blue-winged teal.
Yeah.
And Matt was a little pissed that I was holding up his water swatted.
Like,
hen
that was a great
bufflehead
picture with my trophy. Yeah. No, I mean, you got to get that first one out of the way, right?
Yeah. I think Zach called it too when that thing landed.
Yeah, I
he
said
goes,
shoot it in the
"Shoot
decoys.
the-
I'm not
shoot
going to
that
not shoot
bufflehead."
it in the decoys.
Yeah.
He wants that first one out of the way just as bad as I did.
He
You
does.
got to get the ball rolling somewhere.
Gotta
And it
break
was
the ice.
right at first light.
Oh,
too.
yeah. Yeah.
He said somebody shoot that bufflehead. And I think the first thing I thought was, how the hell do you know that's a bufflehead? I can barely
Oh,
see.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Came in real low, real small.
Yeah.
It was cool though, right? It's first light, right? You have dawn breaking, you have orange light, like the red clay, birds working all around. It was a pretty magical setting.
That was
It
very
really
cool.
was. Yeah.
Very cool setup there. And then, yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
then after Matt broke the seal, I mean, the widgeon and
Yeah.
the gadwall just kind of started coming in. Like, we never had any huge flocks. I think we had one decent sized flock of mallards come over, but both dogs were in the water at that
Yeah.
time. But other than that, it was kind of like a slow
1 to
trickle
4.
of like 3s and 4s,
Yep.
gadwall and widgeon.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
Yeah, and after probably the first 2 volleys, we really stepped up our shooting game after that because, I mean, any group of 2 to 4 that came in, that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
They didn't leave after that first group or 2.
Right.
Um,
Well, I think some of that too, like we had 3 completely different hunts and you have different backdrops, right?
Yeah.
You have a water backdrop with a hill behind you and a
yeah,
sunrise.
it was super dark for the first
the afternoon.
hour maybe because that sun doesn't get above that hill. So the whole
Right.
bowl is dark. So if you're either not seeing them come in or you're not able to really watch them without showing your face, like he calls a shot, you don't know, like, until they light up above the bowl, you're not going
Right.
to see them.
Right.
That was me. I was having a hard time. It was like, okay, get ready. And then it's like, oh, I was having a hard time because the background was so dark until they were right on top of us, like right before, shot was called.
Yep.
I wasn't seeing them. And then I was like, oh, right there. And then, but I'm not making excuses. I mean, I'm just a terrible shot all the time. So,
We'll get to that.
But even
Not
that,
the
just
terrible
going from a wheat field to a cornfield to
Yeah.
Oh, we went from
pond.
laying down to laying down in a layup line to sitting up on a swivel chair to sitting up in a swivel chair on an extreme angle that basically, like, I had my foot planted up against my blind bag and the seat folded down. I was sitting on the flat part because otherwise I couldn't
Yeah,
sit.
we all were. Yeah.
So it's just, it's not a problem. It's just you're not used to that. Like, I'm used to sitting flat in my boat. Like, that's where I'm comfortable.
It takes you a couple shots to get adjusted.
Yeah, you don't want to
and get
fall out of
yourself
the
back
panel
in
blind either. So it's like,
Right.
you got to get used to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It really was though. Like after the first couple volleys, like birds came in, they didn't leave.
No, the
Like,
dogs
if
were
they-
always picking up 3 or 4 at a time.
Yes,
And it was a
yes.
really good thing that he brought Blue that day. Not saying Matt couldn't have done it, but there was some
Oh no.
there's some ice involved and Mac proved himself fine on that. But like there was a lot of birds in the I took a screenshot of the temperature every morning. It was a cold stretch where we were there. And
Yes.
we're used to it, but January 7th, it was 14 degrees, feels like 6 when we were leaving the door that morning.
Yes.
That's cold.
Yes.
It's a lot of swimming.
I believe the wind chill on our first hunt, right? The goose feed was below 0.
Yeah.
When we were out there. It was 12 the next morning when I couldn't feel my toes and my right foot in the layout blind. And it was 14.
I mean,
it was 14 when we left. Yeah.
The first day it was 20, feels like 2, and that wasn't even the full wind chill at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It was a cold 3-day hunt for some guys that are pretty used to being cold most of the year.
Yeah. No, I was really glad that Blue was there though too. I mean, That's a lot of ducks to pick up in cold water. I mean,
and
from a. Go ahead, Matt. I think you probably.
I mean, he sent him on some far birds too. Like it was not.
Yeah.
There was a lot of work.
Well, and just like the birds kept trickling in small groups, and so if you have one dog picking up 3 or 4 ducks, that's a ton of swimming. That takes forever.
Yeah,
and having 2 dogs to pick up, like it just goes so much faster.
Yeah.
You know, and I think one of those times that we had both, at least Mac was in the water and we're coming back and the birds are coming in, and I just knelt down right next to the dog blind and kenneled him up. I never even saw them. 3 birds came in and you guys just toasted them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just standing out there. That was awesome too.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a fun morning. It was awesome.
What did we finish with?
22 and a goose.
Yeah, 22 and a goose.
Yep.
And it was all, we had the 1 bufflehead and the rest was all widgeon and gadwall.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So ducks that, I mean, I've shot gadwall before. They're not extremely common here in southeastern Wisconsin. The widgeon I had never shot, so it was cool getting to experience some different species, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think I sent the picture to our friend Aaron Joes from Red Cedar Retrievers.
Yeah.
And his response was brown duck beatdown.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
And we shot a very unique widgeon as well. That's going up on the wall at my brother-in-law's house.
I think Zach was calling it like the 3/5 storm widgeon. So
3/5 storm widgeon. Yeah.
It had a couple of those patches of, I'm looking at mine on the wall and it's totally speckled, where the opposite is, all white on the head.
Yep.
Very cool looking bird.
Yep. Yeah. Very unique. He said it was pretty rare. I think Nate had looked it up. He said it was like 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 1,100 widgeon have that look to them. So that's a pretty.
I've never seen one in person.
One.
That's super cool.
Yeah. I think Zach and Bill were both pretty pumped up about that one too.
They were excited.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was cool. I don't know who shot it. We were all shooting.
Wasn't me.
Going up on the wall, and it's going to be a great memory to look back on. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It
Yep.
is.
I think Zach even said, he goes, if none of you guys are going to take it, I'll take it.
Yeah, he was willing to grab it.
Yeah. So I'm glad somebody decided to pony up the money and put it on the wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That was, I think we had to depart, and we originally were like, okay, we want to be on the road at 10, right? But then it was like 9:30, and we're like, let's give it 45 more minutes. And I think we ended up hunting another 90 minutes. And I think we shot another 10 or 11 ducks though.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it was consistent. I mean, like a lot of hunts that we have, you just got to eventually pull it. Here, it would have been easier to get to that limit than at home. Like some days you could stay all day and get a limit, but it would take all of 12 hours. Here, it would have taken, I don't know, till noon, 1 o'clock, if we were willing to sit out there, just because 2 or 3 at a time, we had a couple to go. But we had to hit the road. You guys had a longer drive than us. So sometimes you just got to pull out.
Matt and I got to run the calls a little bit while Zach
was
retrieving some sailed birds.
We actually killed quite a few birds. We didn't call all of them, but we did kill several birds while he was running cripples with Blue.
I think we shot 6 while he was out chasing cripples.
Easily a handful. And Bill and myself were the group was making the call and on shooting them. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it was everybody got a call in their bag, and I was the only one that had the calls.
I had mine
extra
for 2 days, and then I went, I don't need it. I'll just pack it for the ride home. Why do I need it in my blind bag tomorrow?
I found my backup call was in the blind bag that I handed to Matt, the old double nasty, Buck Gardner double nasty. So Matt started running that.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah, that was a good time.
It worked. You guys were calling him in. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we got 6 while he was out there.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't sound like Zach on the calls, but it still worked.
No, we didn't sound quite like Zach, but good enough.
Yeah,
it worked.
It worked well. Yeah. Shoot 6 birds, and it wasn't that long that he was running cripples.
No, we just got kind of lucky. Looked up, and 3 more were coming in, or whatever it was. Like a lot of those birds that day, just being in the bowl and the landscape, like you weren't watching them forever come in. It was like, oh shoot, there they come over, the right side or whatever, and they're they're either going up to the north where the other ones were, or they were coming to us. There was not a lot of in between or really working them. They were kind of set on where they're going, which was ideal. Honestly, it's fun to watch them just lock in from 200 yards out and make it all the way to 20 yards.
Well, Jeff was spotting them at like 500 yards, but everybody else was spotting them at 200. I was spotting them at like 50. So
whatever that backdrop was on that last day, man, I was just like Johnny on the spot finding the birds.
You were on it. It was awesome.
Yeah,
so that was fun.
So we ended up, what was it? We ended up with 72 birds, I think. I figured for the trip for the 3 days.
Yeah.
5 guys. I'd say that's a pretty solid experience.
Success.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And just the variety that we experienced was so cool. You know, every hunt was so unique and a different situation and different types of ducks and geese. Like that made it extra special as well.
So, we got our money's worth. We did we did so many different styles of hunting. I mean, it was awesome.
Right.
It was
like Matt. I mean, I know you go to Real Foot every year, right? And that's a tradition thing that you do with your dad in the group. But it's it's the same blinds, it's the same hole, it's the same boat ride.
Decoys are out permanently.
We got to experience like every aspect of all these different style hunts, which made it that much cooler.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I told Zach that. I mean, I emailed him because I started with like, this is gonna be longer than a text message, and I told him, I've been Green Bay. I mean, I go to Tennessee. I've been Arkansas, Mississippi, Mexico. Like I've been on guided hunts before, and like you said earlier, probably does do it for everyone, especially if you have like just an absolute bummer of a morning. That he wants you to kill birds just as much as the next group or the day before, and a lot of those cases you're not going out another time, or you're not finding a feed. Like it's either they're there or they're not. On a lot of the hunts I go to, like that feed is there, and if they don't show up, like, well, we'll try it tomorrow. Snow goose hunts, I think I've been on 1 or 2 afternoon ones after just like a bummer of a morning, try to salvage the day, but it's usually not like that. So I appreciated all the extra work those guys put in, and he's got however many scouts hired checking all those properties. So that was good to know that the next day there was always something different, potentially, which was kind of cool. Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
So the question I have for you two is, would you go back?
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
That was awesome.
It's when will we go back is the question, not if.
Right.
Okay. Right. All right. So when is the question?
It's a good question, but I need to spread it out more than 4 days from my last trip. So if we put another weekend in between there, that would be a lot easier.
Come on, man. You want to hunt every day of duck season.
I mean, it was nice because I didn't have to take my stuff out of the box or really unpack, but it was a lot of driving in 8 days or 12 days or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's a great way to like extend the season here in Wisconsin, right? I mean, early December, it ends the first weekend in December, ducks is over, and it's something to look forward to for the following month.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, because now we're in the lull. It just sucks. Yeah. I've been thinking about when I'm going to get to the game farm.
It's game farm season.
When I'm going to get out again.
All the videos over.
Yeah.
Game farm season is upon us. As much as I dislike game farms, now it's for the dog.
Yep.
That's right. Your dog doesn't know the difference between a wild bird, DNR release bird, or a game farm bird. Doesn't know the difference.
That's the only reason I go out to those places. Just exercise the dog and get her exposure.
Okay. I have to say, like, I'm 75% sure I'm going to go back next year.
There you go.
Folks. I got the okay.
I'm
really.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
That's because he's still giddy from last Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's been a week and change.
I know.
So Zach did mention too that next time we're out, he wants to potentially get us on some bob whites, and he mentioned he was going to have some pheasants out there too, hopefully.
Next year,
might even be able to bring the other red bird dog that's in this household. So that would be a lot of fun.
That'd be a blast, right?
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I mean, it'd be cool, but like this trip, granted the weather wouldn't have cooperated, but like you couldn't have traded anything. You would have had to just give up the afternoon to go do, some other activity, which would be
right
fun. But
so like say day one, we actually got out on a hunt and shot some birds. Like that afternoon, we could go and chase some bobwhites.
Yep.
Yeah, because we had planned a podcast down there, but we did 2 afternoon hunts, which took away.
I mean, you're basically coming back, unloading, eating, watching a Mark Wahlberg movie, and then and then turning and burning again to a different field. There wasn't a lot of time. I mean, between naps and just trying to kind of get ready for the afternoon, there was no time for any of that. I kind of figured that's how it was going to go, honestly, because I didn't think we were going to do that many afternoons, but I knew we'd be exhausted, and we had both. So
I thought we'd have like one afternoon where it's like, hey, we hunted, say, worst case till noon. We come back, we rest, and we're just kind of like killing time. It's like, hey, it's 3:00. We're unpacked. We're rested. It's not time for dinner yet. Let's just pull it out and yak it up about the hunt.
Yeah,
it didn't happen. That was okay.
Nope.
That's okay. Nope. Totally okay with that. So. But yeah, ideal state, right? Next time we go, kill a bunch of birds in the morning, right? Hunt some bobwhites and pheasants in the afternoon. Yes, please sign me up. Yep. I will be in bed at 8 p.m. that night, exhausted. Sign me up, please. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Man. That's good. How many times have you guys been watching the GoPro footage we have?
Well, I've watched quite a bit.
You got to send me more videos.
I don't have that many more. I think.
Oh,
you
don't?
them all. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've watched a few.
Have you? I keep watching the big group that comes in where they just rain out of there, and Max is just laughing hysterically.
Yeah.
I watch that one like once a day. It is amazing.
Well, I think you hear him at the end. He's just like, like just
he's up. One of them. I have that too on mine as well. That's very funny.
Like genuinely like pumped up.
Yeah,
that we were having that much success.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yes. It was spectacular.
Yeah, awesome.
I am still super giddy about that.
Yeah, it was a great end to the duck 2024-2025 season.
Yeah. I'm all smiles here, just sitting here reliving it. You guys are just telling the stories. I'm just like, this is amazing.
He was looking forward to this episode.
I was.
He just wanted to play it back in his mind. That's for sure.
I did. Yeah. Like the drive home, I spent the first 4 hours like pulling clips off of GoPros and just watching.
Yeah, we were driving and I'm getting clips. I was like, wow, Tyler's sitting in the back, clearly not driving this section of the road.
He didn't drive at all.
No, I didn't.
He didn't. Yeah, we didn't ask. I mean, you would have if we would ask. We were just Me and Nate just kind of get locked in and we just go.
You guys do. I didn't want to interrupt you. I was like, I'll drive, but I mean, Jeff, I think you enjoy the control of driving, and you don't trust other people to drive, correct?
Yeah, it takes a lot. I wouldn't say I don't trust them. I just prefer to be driving on my own.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
that's fair. And then Nate's like,
he's the same way.
Yeah. Nate's like, I'll just do it. He just owns it. He just stepped up.
Both of us just kind of got locked in and just went. I mean, I drove all the way to St. Louis on the way back.
Yes.
Before we switched.
It was pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was good.
Before we wrap up, got to give a shout out to Mac. So Tyler, your dog's never been around anything like that. Right. I mean, most hunters don't go around anything like that. Whether it's like laying not in a dog blind, in socks, like just whipping around him and having piles of geese land in front of him. Like he did, besides the very secondhand embarrassment for him break on the second day with the blind. He was so embarrassed. Other than that, like spectacular work on Mac's part. Yeah, really solid job on the, especially on the goose day, because shooting widgeon and stuff like landing in the water, I would hope he would handle it fine, but the geese was really really impressed to watch. I mean, you know, his tie out was what, around your wrist or clipped to you or something. Like it wasn't even like an official tie out. It was, you know, kind of rigged together, and he did really, really well.
It was totally jerry rigged because I was going to tie it to whatever the dog blind was.
Yeah, I tossed you my D clip like 30 seconds before we loaded guns, and
it's like, there's no dog blind out here. We're just gonna have him lay in the socks too. So he was like laying in the socks, just looking up, watching. Yeah, he was composed. So thank you.
Very good job. Mm-hmm.
He did held his own. I do still have no idea what the second hand the break thing was on the second day. I don't understand it. Like
the only thing, like we talked about, and it went the opposite way as well. Maxwell was confused the first day because he kept thinking people were calling his name Max. I don't know if there was some confusion because Mac and Maxwell were on opposite ends of an 11-person blind, and if
there had to be,
there was some name, you know, he thought the release word was gone, but he took out of there like he had stuff to do, and he did.
He did. But it wasn't. It was the thing is that like we shot 2 ducks.
Yeah.
And we had more ducks still working us, so we waited for like 2 minutes until they just boogered off, and then we all kind of stood up, and then he just takes off out of the blue.
Yeah,
I don't know. He was I tied him to the dog blind, and so he drug that thing actually till I hit him with the e-collar, and then he realized that he was dragging it, and then
to be fair, those 2 ducks we were off by easily 20 yards.
Oh my gosh!
Trying to get them in the area, so. Yes. That was unfortunate.
That was after we had shot like another duck.
Yeah.
That was just, But whatever. I mean, that was a good learning experience for him.
Yes. Yep. And then he did very well on the 3rd day with Blue, who I also think isn't used to hunting with another dog, because there's a couple where it's like, Blue, get the other bird. Like they are kind of like merging towards the same one. And
it was cool. I mean, I met Zach via Instagram. I had reached out to him because he had a red lab, who I thought was a very nice looking red lab. And as an owner of a red lab, we struck up a conversation. Like that's the reason we started talking. And then 4 years later, we're, hunting at Zach's, under his business, and the 2 dogs are there. Right. That was that was a very full circle moment for me. Pretty special. It's pretty cool. So,
and man, those 2 dogs look alike too. Thank goodness they had different colored collars on, because there was a couple times when I looked down and thought it was Mac, but it was Blue, and vice versa.
Yeah, because they both had the same tangle free or whatever it was, like
the
vest on. So short of the collar color. I mean, if you weren't paying attention, Mac had a little bit of height on him.
Yes.
Blue's got a little bit of weight on him, but like at a glance and swimming, good luck.
Yep. That's right. I got to write that down. That tangle free vest fit perfect, actually.
That was a medium, you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, you looked at the size, which I was surprised with.
I wonder what a large looks like.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, I know it was trimmed like pretty well around the edges for rubbing and stuff, but
yeah, it was it fit perfectly. I mean, it was nice and snug, and I mean, I've tried a few different dogs. I haven't tried a tangle free, and I just haven't got one to like fit and work. And so to be fair, I think that was probably the first time he's hunted in a dog vest too. A bunch of new experiences. I committed like a ton of cardinal sins probably. To
an 8-year-old dog or 7.
Yeah, it's an 8-year-old dog.
I mean,
but
he's
seen fairly
things.
He's seen things. He's fairly composed. That also helps. You gotta know your dog.
Yes.
Like my other dog would never be able to handle any of that. No matter if she matures, she'd probably start barking when the geese were coming in. Whatever though. What else? What did we miss on this fun hunt?
I don't think anything.
No, so we had our 13-hour trip back. We got back at about 2 a.m. I think we pulled into the driveway.
1:45.
1:45.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We unloaded from your truck in a hurry.
Oh yeah.
I was on the road at 2. I was in bed by 2:30.
Separated all of our ducks. Yeah. I cleaned them the next day. I ended up putting them up on a strap, and it was so freaking cold. So I just hung them in the garage and kept them overnight. ended up breasting them out the next morning. Everything worked great.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
I actually took I left mine in the cooler for a few days and did the Chris Wansettler, right, from OKS Cook. Yep, right.
Yep.
Let him, like, he puts his birds in his refrigerator that he has in his garage and lets them.
Didn't need that.
Nope, just kept them in the cooler outside, right? I had some water bottles. Like, I had a little bit of water in the bottom, but I had water bottles, so like sitting on top of the water bottles, they weren't soaking. So we'll see what they turn out like. When I eventually cook them. I haven't cooked them yet.
Did you keep skin on?
Did, yeah.
Me too. I ended up plucking every single one of them.
Did you?
I went for it.
I didn't pluck it well because they had like that second layer of feathers there. It was getting dicey. My hands were getting cold.
It was cold.
It was cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cold all week.
It's been cold since then.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Not kidding. As you're sitting there in a flannel.
Yeah.
And I'm in a
freezing in my basement and fleece pants from working outside at work. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say. I'm all giddy and I'm all smiles.
Yeah. It was an awesome trip. Can't wait to go back.
Yeah.
Highly recommend Red Beards Waterfowl.
Same.
If anybody's looking to do a really authentic waterfowl hunt where you get some nice variety, not only a variety of hunts, but a variety of ducks and geese, like Oklahoma, red dirt, like that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you had said, Jeff, right? Authentic, right? It's super authentic. Like and Matt, you had said we helped pick up. We didn't have to help pick up.
Yeah, no.
But I think that helped make it as part of it what made it feel like a real hunt for me is picking up
For sure.
toys.
Yeah.
You know,
it felt like we contributed to the success, right? And
Correct.
even though it was a small amount, we helped out, and it just makes it that much more rewarding.
Correct. We got to the cornfield on the afternoon of day 2. We helped set everything up. We got there early.
We set up
Yeah.
and took down. Yeah.
It was great.
But also, like, I couldn't have sat there and just watched them set out like
No.
10 dozen full bodies on stakes.
No.
Well, that's the thing too.
You
like,
wouldn't have hunted till 4 o'clock.
Like, you learn so much when you're doing that too. Like, you're learning different strategies. You're learning, the different spreads. You're learning why they do this, why they do that. Like, you can gain so much more by helping out as opposed to just showing up and sitting down.
Correct. I would have loved to, if they would have got there an hour earlier, we would have got there an hour earlier, and they would have explained like why they're setting up here, right? It's a 500-acre cornfield. Why this spot, right? Why you just walk me through your entire thought process here. I want to understand it. An hour is probably too much, but right, I'm being a bit dramatic. But literally, like you can watch and learn, but I want them to explain it to me because these guys are hunting so much. Like they're seeing things that I'm not seeing.
Right.
Yep.
Well, I think we told that to Zach. He told us what time to be there. Like, we don't have anything to do at the cabin. Like, can we show up early and help set up? Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Better than sitting around.
Right.
Watching Italian Job or Tropic Thunder or Shooter.
Shooter in the Italian Job. Those were winners.
Yep.
It did have a nice selection of DVDs there.
Yeah. Let's go. We weren't there to watch movies or watch TV. We were there to kill birds.
That's true.
We did.
Yeah. But you sprinkle in a little Marky Mark at the cabin when you get back. Like, come on, that just makes it so much better.
Yeah. That's right. Then steak, peanut butter sandwiches, duck and speck. Let's go.
Yeah.
Game on. So, all right. Yeah. That's all I got. That's all I got, boys.
Sweet.
Yeah. Same.
Should we wrap it?
Wrap it up.
Let's wrap it.
I don't have any. I got no Sky Blast.
There was no sky blasting that took place down in Oklahoma, so we will not have any sky blasting questions today. Just simply wrap it up with this. One, definitely check out Red Beards Waterfowl Outfitters if you want to do a really fun, unique hunt. 2, you made it this far. Thank you. Welcome to 2025. We'll have more episodes coming out throughout the year. And then 3, if you have 10 seconds, just go ahead and leave us a review. We appreciate any and all feedback that you can give us. Shoot us a message on social. We love interacting and hearing what's going on in your world. Other than that, have a great rest of your day or night, and we will see you next week. Peace.